And I want to start with just your reaction to the Biden news and then also the reaction that we're getting on Wall Street this morning, taking a look at futures in the green across the board. The Nasdaq up over 0.5%, the S&P 1/3% higher in the pre-market.
So I think my initial reaction was, a little bit of surprise as with everybody else, but also knowing that this was probably inevitable. I mean, I think this has been signaled for months, certainly since the debate in which, everybody saw the president struggle a little bit. So this was coming. The timing wasn't known, but I think we knew what the end game is. As far as the market reaction, I don't think that the move yesterday fundamentally changes the race. Let's assume that Harris is the nominee. It's hers to lose per what Eamon was saying. And I think investors see Trump as the likely winner in this scenario. And so I think the Trump trade, which has kind of been in the background over the last couple of weeks and months, I still think it's in place.
All right, we're going to talk much more about that so-called Trump trade in a bit, Brian. Eamon, I'll come back over to you. During the last election, you actually covered the Trump campaign, and you've really just been highlighting that when we talk about Trump, Vance, and that ticket, that their policies and their thinking about a lot of things, especially related to business, may be very different than we traditionally see the GOP. But right now, I want to talk about Harris. What do we know about her policies? Also, the fact that she has close ties to big tech from her days back in California. How should investors view that?
Yeah, look, any California senator is going to have ties to big tech. That's important if you're going to campaign statewide or nationwide from California. So that's clear. I don't think you can look at Harris and say this is a dramatically different set of policies than Joe Biden. This is somebody who might say on Israel have a slightly different approach in terms of foreign policy. But otherwise, I think what you're looking at is Bidenomics with a different face on top of it. And if investors like what they've seen over the past 4 years with the economy, with the Dow where it is, inflation where it is, unemployment where it is, then, you might like what you're going to see from Kamala Harris. I don't think this is a dramatic departure. In fact, I think that Kamala Harris will do everything she can to signal continuity and stability here, especially because this is such a disruptive moment in the way this has been handled by the Democratic Party. I think she's going to be at pains to signal that sort of all is well here and everything is going to continue apace. So don't look for big changes there. But again, as you pointed out, on the Republican side, I think we are looking at big changes from what Donald Trump did back in 2017 when he took power. He had a very different set of staffers surrounding him. He had, Mnuchin. He had, establishment Wall Street people around him. He had establishment Republicans in Congress. If he's reelected to a second term now, he has an entirely different crew around him now, an entirely different cast of characters up on Capitol Hill. And I think that points to some very different policies than what we saw in 2017.
So, Brian, come back over to you. A minute ago, you kind of conflated investors and voters, but certainly there's a lot of overlap. I also want to talk to you about your clients. I'm sure you've been getting a lot of calls about the so-called Trump trade and the idea that Trump's the front runner. Just kind of looking at that small cap trade, that's been kind of lumped in with the Trump trade. Just going back 2 weeks, we see from the time that the small caps took off, if you go back to July 8th, the rest of the market has actually gone down. When you're talking to clients, how are you talking to them about it? What are they asking you about this so-called Trump trade and also the strength of the broader market with all this volatility politically?
So, a lot about this, and because of the Trump tariff agenda, I think the small cap trade makes sense. Less exposure internationally, that should work out fine. And then, kind of sector specific. Eamon was mentioning tech and Vice President Harris and her time in the Senate. I don't think tech is a big winner here just because she was close with tech in the Senate. I mean, I'll compare her to Joe Biden, who represented Delaware and was seen back in the day from his Senate days that a supporter, an advocate of the credit card industry. I don't think anybody would argue that Joe Biden was pro-credit card industry when he was, as he's been president over the last several years. So I'd be very careful about reading too much into that. Per Eamon's comments, I totally agree with him on kind of the populist move in the Republican Party. I think investors are trying to figure out how that works out.